This is ABC15 Mornings.
The FDA authorizing a third COVID-19 vaccine when Arizona is expected to receive its first doses.
Plus, a local teen still feeling COVID-19 symptoms 1 year after contracting the virus, how she's using her experience to help others.
And a sense of normalcy this morning today, the first day of spring training in the Valley. More on the team going cashless at the ballpark and all the changes that you'll see if you're lucky enough to be heading to the ballpark today. We want to say good morning to you on your Sunday. It is 6 o'clock. I'm Megan Thompson.
And I'm Mark Thompson, keeping my social distance this morning. And Megan, I love watching live baseball. I was a pretty good Little League baseball player too back in the day. I was a pitcher.
Were
I used
you?
just keep them humming in. As a matter of fact, my mom had to stop coming to games because the kids were scared I threw the ball so hard that parents were always yelling at me. So,
I was known for slow pitch, so I was more like this, out there hitting it over to people. We'll see the professionals today. Maybe some of you are headed out to spring training, and it's going to be a beautiful day ahead, Mark. If you do want to be able to catch that live baseball feeling, we're only going to be in the 60s today, so we're actually below average for this time of year. Let me walk you through that hour-by-hour forecast. If you are heading out there around noon, 59 degrees for you, 62 degrees by first pitch. And like I said, we're only going to warm to about 65 degrees for a high today. Our temperatures around 4 p.m. dropping off, and then by 5 p.m. 63 degrees, breezy and cool for you, and sunny if you're heading out to the ballpark or just outside in general. Here's what you do need to keep in mind though. Winds today, they're going to be really blustering around, especially in northern Arizona. So in Valley, we could see gusts up to 30 miles per hour. In northern Arizona and western Arizona, we could see gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So to walk you through this disturbance that's moved in, causing this, and the second disturbance that could bring us rain coming up in just a little bit. But we do want to get to some breaking news this hour. A gas line break underneath 7th and University in Phoenix. This is a live look from our crew on the ground there. Hazmat crews also on the scene, along with Phoenix Fire, trying to get this thing under control. You can see the massive flames still burning. We got word of this about an hour ago. It is best to avoid the area at this time. No word yet on when this scene will be clear, but some wild images coming out of Phoenix right now as Phoenix Fire crews and hazmat crews out there are working very, very hard this morning to try and get this one under control.
All right, Megan, thank you for that. And now to our other top story this morning. The FDA has now authorized a third COVID-19 vaccine that should help in the fight against the pandemic. This took place Saturday. The new Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It is only a one dose and it does not require any complex refrigeration. Now, nearly 4 million doses are all ready to be shipped as soon as tomorrow. 50 to 60,000 of those doses are expected here in Arizona. That is not including part of the 800,000 doses that will be set aside just for pharmacies. Right now, nearly 7% of the country is fully vaccinated.
As we've reported, this vaccine is different, but doctors say it's still safe and effective. Our ABC15 Health Insider team is going deeper into the data to get you the information you need on this new vaccine. Dr. Shad Marzadi stressing we should not get caught up in the lower percent efficacy. Instead, focus on the outcome.
All of them, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, have basically shown to eliminate hospitalization, severe illness requiring hospitalization, and death.
The FDA confirming the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is safe with about 66% efficacy against moderate disease. That is lower than the other two vaccines, but medical experts pointing out the Johnson & Johnson trial was conducted later on.
Because they actually studied it during the time of these variants in some of the populations and places where we've had the most prominent variants. And so the variants involved may have been really implicated in terms of causing that mild to moderate and that decreased percentage.
The vaccine is about 85% effective against the most serious illness, protection emerging about 14 days after vaccination, and at 28 days, no hospitalizations or deaths were reported. If you have a question or a story you want our Health Insider team to look into, just send us an email to healthinsider@abc15.com. A medical mystery stemming from the coronavirus, a 16-year-old still battling symptoms a year after getting it. And she's not alone. Now she's taking action to help others in their long roads to recovery. Our own Adam Waltz shares her story and why researchers are particularly interested in it.
It's called Long COVID, and the name is pretty self-explanatory. But instead of letting COVID-19 rule her life, a Valley teenager is using her symptoms in a more positive way by bringing together other kids just like her who are in the middle of a long journey back to full health.
That was the worst sickness that I've ever endured in my life.
It was last February when 16-year-old Lydia Pastor fell ill, and ever since,
It's just been constant muscle aches and the fatigue where I can't snap out of it.
she experienced numbness in her hands and feet, fibromyalgia, and even hand tremors. Although never tested, Lydia's doctors believe she has what's called long COVID.
This post-viral syndrome occurs where you're done with the initial infection, but yet for some unknown reason, we continue to have some of the symptoms that you had before for a length of time that doesn't really make sense scientifically.
Which is why the National Institute of Health announcing just days ago a new initiative to study long COVID and look for answers as to why people like Lydia have COVID-19 but don't recover for months. They're referred to as long haulers.
The thing that separates them is this brain issue of this fog. Can't concentrate as well. They tend to be more forgetful.
Other symptoms include sleep disorders, persisting fevers.
Body aches. I have terrible joint pain. The fatigue has been huge to where I would sleep up to 15 hours a day.
Lydia began tracking her own symptoms in a journal to record her own health trends, and in January, turning her experience into a website called chronicconnections.org.
I would hope that it would be a place for teens to connect with others who are going through the same thing as them, to find comfort in similarity.
4 teens have sent her letters about their own struggle with long COVID.
The myriad of tests coming back normal, they found it difficult to maintain their peace of mind.
Lydia even sends out free journals to anyone in America to help them track their own symptoms.
Using a daily tracking system, the other teens will be able to almost even graph their symptoms on a monthly basis.
Even including positive messages to help those long haulers make it through the day.
I'm so happy already with these 4 stories that I've had so far and given these journals to, but I feel that there's so many more teens out there.
Reasons for long COVID could be there are small amounts of the virus still in the system, an overreactive immune system, or possibly organ damage. In Phoenix, Adam Waltz, ABC 15 Arizona.
Yeah, so great she's sharing her story to help other teens as well. Well, looking ahead to this week, Wednesday, a new state-run vaccination site, it will open in the East Valley tomorrow. Chandler Gilbert Community College will start taking reservations for vaccinations. You can also look for appointment times anytime using the MaricopaCounty.gov vaccine finder. It lists dozens of pharmacies, doctor's offices, and county-run vaccination sites. Now this week, more kids, they're heading back to class. Litchfield Elementary District is welcoming back 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Last week, kindergarten through 2nd grade was allowed back on campus. Also this week, the Levine School District will start a hybrid learning model.
Tomorrow, Prescott Public Library will reopen. It will now be open 7 days a week. Curbside service will no longer be available. All 3 entrances and the alley book drop will be open. And books will no longer be quarantined for 3 days once they are returned. Now, we are showing you video of the Crayola experience at Chandler Fashion Center. That will reopen on Wednesday. There will be safety protocols in place, including a mask requirement for guests age 3 and older, and a new clear bag policy. For all the details, you can head to CrayolaExperience.com.
And as we told you at the top of the show, spring training is back, and it's usually one of the biggest tourism draws. But of course, this year things are going to be a little bit different, but you can still get out there and enjoy some baseball action. Stadiums, they are going to be welcoming fans on a limited capacity and making some COVID safety adjustments. Like here at Sloan Park, the Cubs, they're going cashless. With this new reverse ATM, you put the cash in and you get a card out that you can use at the ballpark.
Mark, I think everybody is totally fine with some of these changes. I know we talked to some people last week as they were getting ready or wanting to head to the ballpark today. Any changes that you need to make it safe, make it possible to have this one thing that we love so much here in the Valley come back. I love that idea, and we know that there'll be other things in effect when you head out to the ballpark, and we have full details on that on ABC15.com. And here are the temperatures if you are going to spring training today, right around 105 to 110 for all those first pitches. Only spot in the 50s is Surprise at 59 degrees. Everyone else in the 60s. Your Valley Planner shows a very slow warm-up, 50s by 10 a.m. We're going to talk about why we're seeing these cooler temperatures and rain chances in that 7-day coming up.
They made me feel like my baby was really safe and in good hands.
Putting their own lives at risk to save a newborn baby, how they went above and beyond during that dangerous winter storm in Texas last week. And are you ready to plan a summer vacation? What you need to consider before booking your next trip next.
Thanks for watching ABC 15 Arizona, streaming 24/7 on Roku and these streaming devices.
Welcome back, everybody. And this morning we've got an incredible story of survival after healthcare workers in Texas, they helped deliver a baby during that snowstorm, a very special newborn indeed. Last week, Kimberly Arias, she was just 24 weeks pregnant when she went to the hospital for contractions, but Texas, as you remember, was battling a massive winter storm at the time, and they were unable to transfer Kimberly to another hospital with a specialized NICU. Baby Zaylin was delivered at just 1 pound 6 ounces, miles away. Knowing how critical baby Zaylin was, Dr. John Lloyd and 2 nurses volunteered to make a treacherous 2-hour journey on those icy roads with life-saving equipment. That team working to keep Zaylin alive until a transport helicopter could arrive.
It was just a huge sense of relief and accomplishment.
This has reminded me of the simple fact of going out to help someone who's in need.
And doctors say that little baby Zaylin is a fighter, already beating the odds. Friday, her mom was to hold the baby for the very first time, so I'm sure a very emotional experience for mom.
Absolute heroes just taking action there. Thank you so much for sharing that story, Mark. And I want to turn now to that most accurate forecast for you on your Sunday morning. Good morning to you. I hope you are enjoying your weekend and you enjoyed the weather yesterday. Some changes coming into play today. Let's start with those current temperatures. In Phoenix, it's 50 degrees, 47 in Mesa, 46 in Glendale, and 44 degrees in Goodyear if you're going to step outside. It is spring training, the first day today. So if you're heading out to the ballpark, here's your hour-by-hour planner. Beginning around that noon hour, 59 degrees. So we're not going to get into the 60s until about 1 p.m. when it's time for the first pitch. Then we'll get to 63 by 2 p.m. and then we'll hit our forecast high of 65 degrees right around 3 o'clock today. Breezy and cool conditions and sunny skies. We are going to see those winds ramp up today in the valley, gusts up to 30 miles per hour. And in northern Arizona and along the Colorado River Valley, we're going to see gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So this is triggering a red flag warning that will take effect today for spots like Pinal, Pima, and Cochise counties. Your humidity just between 6 and 12%. And those breezy conditions, the low humidity, the moderate temperatures. Unfortunately, we're talking about the potential for fire weather with all of that. So please keep that in mind. The winds coming from this disturbance moving in from the north, but it will clear out to start your work week tomorrow. Then we're tracking a second disturbance moving in, and take a look at this, bringing rain chances to our state and to the valley, snow to the high country potentially late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So we're really excited about that. We're bumping up those storm chances in the 7-day. For forecasted highs, 36 in Heber, 46 in Winslow today, 44 in Prescott, 64 in Quartzsite, and 51 degrees in Globe. Here's that 7-day forecast today. Below average temperatures for the start of spring training. We warm up tomorrow to 72 degrees, 78 by Tuesday before we cool off again with that storm system. A 30% chance of rain Wednesday, 20% on Thursday in the early morning hours. Then a warm up on the way Friday, 80 to 84 by Saturday.
All right, Megan, thank you so much. Well, if you are planning a trip that is this summer or fall, now might be the right time to do it. But travel agents, they say that you need to look out for a lot of things, especially if you're traveling during the pandemic. Lots to consider. Our very own Kaylee O'Kelly walks us through it.
I'm constantly checking the CDC guidelines. It's driving me crazy, but I think I should know it like front and back by now.
Travel agents are spending more time checking the CDC website.
Business was slow there when the pandemic first hit, but now business is beginning to pick up for the third quarter and beyond.
That's summer and fall. People are beginning to plan trips both domestically and abroad.
A lot of people are traveling the Caribbean, Mexico, Aruba, but some of the islands are beginning to close their borders.
It's recommended to check COVID protocols because of the pandemic. So much is constantly changing in other countries and across the U.S.
They just announced January 26th that the U.S. has implemented for international travelers to have a negative COVID test 72 hours prior to returning.
Anything can happen on a trip, from catching COVID or just getting sick in general.
I myself was out in the San Francisco area north of there with my husband a couple years ago, and I ended up with a blood clot and ended up in the hospital over the weekend. And I had $60,000 in bills before you could blink an eye.
Debbie Haas from AAA says you might need to look into everything from travel insurance to hotel cleanliness.
And we even work with preferred travel providers who will do guided tours. And those folks go ahead and make sure that they've picked venues that are following all the safety guidelines.
And if you are taking a trip, it is suggested to book sooner rather than later.
So if there's something on your wish list, go ahead and make a reservation.
Now, that was Kaylee O'Kelly reporting. At least on my timeline, a lot of people in Mexico right now. They must be offering some great deals at those resorts. But remember, after you do book your trip, make sure that you check the CDC website on a daily basis so you can get updates on what is safe and what is not.
Good advice, Mark. Thank you. Coming up on 6:15 on your Sunday. And if you're sick of scam text messages, we have a simple way you can report them to help protect others. And keep an eye on your kids' social media, the tool offering parents peace of mind. The pandemic has pushed nearly everything online. Our kids are learning remotely for some of you, and then they're socializing with their family or their friends online. And we know technology can be a dangerous place if we don't have the tools to combat it. So this morning, we are joined by a few gentlemen to talk about some tools that may be able to help our parents. So Jeff Gottfirst and Derek Jackson with CyberDive, they are joining us this morning. Also, Brian Steele with the Phoenix Dream Center. This is a nonprofit with many missions, including stopping human trafficking. So you're all joining us this morning to talk about this free social media monitoring tool that you have created. Derek, Jeff, can you walk me through what this is so our parents can understand?
We created a tool that allows parents to see what their children are doing on social media.
And so what we did is we actually took my background. I spent some time on active duty as an intelligence officer with the Special Forces in charge of a team looking at how ISIS was using social media to recruit foreign fighters. And we took all of that tradecraft that I and my team used, we packaged it up and automated it so we could give it to parents so they could make well-informed decisions in their kids' lives.
We give them the ability to see what their kids are doing, achieve peace, it gives their kids independence, and it bridges the digital divide.
I think a lot of what you just mentioned would be really helpful because the older generation, they may not be familiar with every new app that is coming out. I can barely keep up with the things that our kids are downloading these days. So how have you streamlined it for people to really find this easier to operate?
So the way that you could sign up as a parent, you just go to our website, cyberdive.co, click that big green sign up button, and you can connect all of your child's platforms right there. One of the coolest features that we have is actually the Friends widget, where you can see all of your child's friends on one simple pane of glass, whether it be from Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, who they're reaching out to on Discord. You can see that all in the same place and even get notified when they make a new friend. So it makes it much easier, much more simple, and saves you time to keep track of all those different accounts.
We really wanted to create something that maximized openness and minimized secrets. And that's what we created, because we know parents want to get back involved. We just didn't know how. We didn't know how to do that. So we really wanted to create something that was totally different, where parents can now get back involved and see the good things and also see the negative things as well. That's what we've created.
The things to start conversations that are so critical, absolutely. And I want to bring in Brian Steele with the Phoenix Dream Center. Why did you want to collaborate on this? Why was it so important to you to get involved with CyberDive?
Yeah, I'll tell you, 2020 with COVID changed everything we know, and especially in social services, and certainly human trafficking was not immune to those changes. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children saw a 98% increase in attempts of traffickers to try to get to children just in 2020. Here in Arizona, we have recovered, law enforcement and service providers have recovered 340 children in just the last 18 months alone. The one common thing that 90% of these cases had was social media. It was social media that the kids got contacted through. It was text messaging that the trafficker finally got to them on. We were so excited about it because it kind of gets to the heart of what is that mechanism that traffickers use to try to lure the kids in. I think aside from that, I use this myself for my 6-year-old little boy.
So you have such a unique perspective, Brian, being a father yourself, utilizing this tool and also seeing what's going on at the Phoenix Dream Center. For you, why would you suggest other parents utilize this? Why is it so important that they take action like this?
The rate at which traffickers are going after children on the internet is a rate we've never seen before. And so even if you thought, well, maybe that happens to those kids over there or it never happened to mine, even if that's the mentality you're in, I think one of the neatest parts about the tool is it also gives you a snapshot into kind of how your child is feeling that day. There's these bubbles that show up that talk about how many times they use the word sad or how many times I use the word hurt or I'm mad or something. And it just really is an amazing tool to give yourself insight, not only into the safety of what your child is doing out there, but what I found is also kind of what my child is thinking.
And Derek and Jeff, I want to make sure we let our viewers know exactly how they can get on this. How can they utilize this tool? Can you give them some information on that?
Yeah, it's really easy. So you just go to our website, cyberdive.co. There's going to be a big green button right in the middle. Click sign up, and it'll take you through all the steps there where you can add in all of your kids' social media accounts and start bridging that digital divide.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for joining me here this morning to talk about this, such an important topic, especially right now. And thank you all for the work that you're doing.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
He had an ear for them and a voice for them.
Honoring the legacy of Calvin Good, the man who dedicated his life to serving those in our community without a voice. We'll have more coming up.